Next song we're doing is Holiday Guys. They call themselves the Hawaiian Style Band. We recorded this song goes like this.
Celebration on the palace ground. People need to know what's going down. There's a proclamation from the powers that lead. Our island nation has got to be free. Living in a sovereign land. Island people come together as one for future generations under the sun, singing songs of freedom, singing songs of love. Living in a sovereign land. Our children deserve to know what went down 100 years ago. You can be the man, you can take the land, but you can't take the truth away. Oh, 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 Lord, living in a sovereign land. Oh, 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 Lord, living in a sovereign land. Our children deserve to know what went down 100 years ago. You can be the man, you can take the land, but you can't take the truth away. Oh, 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 Lord, living in a sovereign land. Oh, 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 Lord, living in a sovereign land.
Y'all me now, sing it time.
Living in a sovereign land. Living in a sovereign land. Brothers and Peter, on yellow and white. Time to do what you know is right. What's been taken must be returned. Give our children what they deserve. Oh, living in a sovereign land. Oh, 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 Lord, living in a sovereign land. Our children deserve to know what went down 100 years ago. You can be a man, you can take the land, but you can't take the truth away. Oh, 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 Lord, living in a sovereign land.
Here we go, gang. Put your hands together.
Oh, 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 Lord, living. Oh, 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 Lord, living in a sovereign land. Oh, 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 Lord, living in a sovereign land. Oh, 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 Lord, living in a sovereign land. Oh, 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 Lord, living in a sovereign land.
Aloha kakahiaka kako e nā poe aloha aina o ke ia pai aina o ko Hawaii pai aina. Aloha, e ke ali'i o pā oa, ka hei au o pā oa mahe haena o Kauai. Aloha ke ali'i o ku ali'i. Ke ali'i no kailua o ahu. Aloha mai e ke ali'i nui o ke kaulike. Ke ali'i nui o Maui. Aloha mai ke ali'i nui o ke ave I ke kahi ali'i o ka moku. O ka moku o ke ave. Good morning. Welcome to Hawaiian Kingdom News, Darkside of Hawaiian Politics, 127 years of injustice, illegal occupation, war crimes continuing in the Hawaiian Kingdom. 7 days of news in 1 hour, brought to you by Hawaiian Kingdom Nationals, DJ Derbs, National Crisis, and Kupuna Pono. And now, with the weather, the National Crisis.
Aloha kako. Mahalo once again for joining us and allowing us to be a part of your morning. Saturday, July 25th, weather for Moko Keawe. Today, weather forecast out in our north, we have our highs at 80, our lows 72. We have our east with our highs 72, lows 68 with a lot of overcast. Our south is 80, our lows is 77, and out our west is our high out at 87 high, 80s low. And now for your weather and your surf, He'enalu for Moko Keawe. Your north is a nice 2 to 3. Our east coast is a choppy 1 to 2. And out in the south, it's a 3 feet, occasional bigger. And out in our west is 2 to 4. That's your weather for Moko Keawe. Back to DJ Derbs for the Mana Olelo for today.
Aloha kako. Ko kako mana o lelo, oia no ka po'o inoa no ke ia episode hoi, oia no o ino nui. So when you go to Puke Vehe Vehe and you type in ino, it comes up wicked, immoral, sinful, unwholesome, unclean, bad, vicious, evil, unprincipled, hate, sin, decomposition. So that's like the aupuni ino. Aupuni Amelika he aupuni ino maluna o kako. And then if you go all the way down, ino loa, very bad, very wicked, horrible. And then you go to number 4, it says storm or stormy. Because I remember my kupuna saying, ho, ino nui, here comes the storm. Here comes the rains. Here comes the strong winds. So because this week we on our doorstep, we're using the Mana Olelo Ino Nui. So when you look up Nui, big, large, great, greatest, grand, important, principal, prime, many. There's many adjectives or words that describe the word Nui, but you put them together, Ino Nui, that means great, large storm, winds, rains. So just like Hurricane Douglas coming to our lands, similar to America and the U.S. Marines landing on our lands, it's a ino nui. It's a great despair, great wickedness. So when I go to Papakilo and I type in ino nui, just about 2,000 hits came up, but I chose this one titled Kipa ae ke kahi ino nui ma hilo. I kuli ke ai me ke kahi mea hou o ka loa ana mai I ke kulana kauhale nei. Ua kipa ae ke kahi ino nui ma hilo Hawaii. I ka po'aono aku nei o ka pule I hala. Oia hoi he makani ma waho aku o ka moana e pāna me ka ikaika ka mea nāna I ho'oala aku I na ale ahiu a po'i ho'omau ana I ke awa kai o hilo hana kahi. So this article was March 8th, 1918, and it speaks about a large storm, wind, rains, ocean entering Hilo's shore, Hilo Hanakahi, and pounding our coastline. So get ready, folks. Get your safety equipment. Get 14 days of water supply. because Ino Nui Old Douglas is nearing our shores. And over here at Hawaiian Kingdom News, Darkside of Hawaiian Politics, we want everybody to be safe. So get prepared, stock up for 14 days. So that's the Mana Olelo for today. Ino Nui.
Kako, Kalamai, I was a little bit late on that one. But with the Mana Olelo, Kupuna Pono, the little bit weather late update with our hurricane situation. DJ Derbs gave a little pointers. Do you have a little pointer for Lahui out there to be getting ready and some tips coming up for Hurricane Douglas?
Yeah, so it looks like it should arrive actually north of the Hawaiian Kingdom tomorrow, probably late evening. So you have time to actually stock up on, food, gasoline and other.
Gasoline, yes.
Yes, gasoline, because
Especially for
normally
Mokoka.
a lot of people now, in fact, this morning I see a lot of people actually at the service station, filling up containers. So just stock up on food for 14 days. Make sure you have batteries for your flashlights. You have first aid equipment, and yeah.
And
So
make sure you check on your kupuna.
yeah, always check on your family members.
Yes.
Especially kupuna, and make sure they're
Make sure they got their supplies.
right. So you have to safe place. So yeah.
So Kako, Mahalo, KP, go out there, get your water, get your supplies. I know the stores are getting stocked right now. Getting rushed right now.
Yes.
I just was in KTA, so if you guys are up and about right now, once you guys take care of the keikis, go out there to your stores and get the necessities you need. Hurricane Douglas is on its way. We don't know how big it is or how long it may last, but it's better to have than not to have. Mahalo, KP. So let's get it. Who is up this week for the community shopping block?
So running for a candidacy for our Hawaii County prosecutor is Jared Auna. So Jared Auna, 38, attorney at Hilo, he puts this post up on Mauna Kea talking about the kupuna getting arrested and his experience. You cannot be more touched than seeing a prosecutor, a Hawaiian prosecutor, wanting to protect the kupuna who were violated on the Mauna Kea access road, revealing the non-jurisdiction of the county officers that enforce this violence on our Hawaiian elders. So we just gotta give, DJ Derbs is gonna give a big fat solution pass to Jared Auna, who seeks to protect our kupuna from further violence. But, he has to go back 127 years to really look at the violence we've all suffered from. But for now, I'm going to give you a solution pass for wanting to protect the kupuna. And what a beautiful, heartfelt explanation you gave on the Mauna. Mahalo, Jared Auna.
KP.
Yeah, so actually I watched the clip, and it's a start, and so personally,
Story.
yes. I feel that we should endorse and support Auna for his efforts, and also for running for a prosecutor, right? So yeah, so these people are real. These people, they feel the effects of the 127 years of U.S. occupation. And yes, he needs to actually go back and learn more about the occupation. And I think he's a very good candidate, in this field right now. So I give him a pass, but hopefully he's going to do more homework on the U.S. occupation, that began 127 years ago. Right.
Auna. It was a touching speech, nonetheless. Just like KP said, Hawaiians should be excited when there's another Hawaiian wanting to take the charge, and wanting to take in the charge and make the change for what's needed to be done. And so we can never look at another Hawaiian or another Kanaka who wants to step up to protect our land, to protect our kupuna, to protect our wahines and our keikis. I'm excited.
Yes.
But just like he said, this is part of the solution. Yeah, this is part of the solution that needs to be addressed a little bit more. I understand that, he understands about the road issue, so he isn't too far about the land issue.
Oh, yes. No,
So-
and especially when
that's what I'm
he's
saying.
talking about the protection of kupuna. So he got it. you know.
Yes.
Yes.
And so with that saying, Kako, go ahead and go check out Auna. And if you guys can, reach out to him and ask the questions, yeah? The hard questions. If he understands that though the road is or was never transferred, it's illegal position right now, sits on Crown lands, the Hawaiian Kingdom. And I'm pretty sure that the community, if you guys reach out to him, he seems like an honest Hawaiian. So with that being said, we have to give him a pass and work on the solutions with Auna. Because if somebody says they can protect your grandma and your grandma is still alive, you gotta love this guy. Next up, DJ Derbs.
Next up is Hawaii News Now. Locals top story: Amazon buys 14-acre property in Sand Island for, well, it won't say. We need to be concerned, Kako. In this time of COVID, it seems like as this economic downturn is forcing our people being not able to pay for our mortgages and rents and our high property taxes that I think just doubled the other week. These large corporations are coming into the Hawaiian Kingdom and they're buying large parcels of property that there is no clear title to. But to see any company during COVID-19 to come here and take advantage of the economic situation that we're in is just egregious. I think there should be a moratorium on all sale of all lands in Hawaii until the 127 years of injustice is resolved. But what about just COVID-19? So, solution, moratorium on all sale of lands during this economic downturn. And I just got a smash on Amazon for just buying up property before you give our Kanakas jobs. Give our Kanakas jobs first. Work with the community. House the houseless. Do something good for us before trying to take advantage of our location in the middle of the Pacific to sell and transport your goods.
All right, I agree with you on the moratorium. I mean, the thing is, we need to actually settle old business, and it's the U.S. occupation for 127 years. And if you look at history of large corporation that actually come into the Hawaiian Kingdom, most times they import their own workers. And if they do give any type of jobs to our people, it's minimum type of jobs. And so I really disagree about they coming in during the COVID-19, and we should be actually on the table with them, doing negotiations of what type of jobs they can offer to our people and what they're going to give back to the community, not what they're going to give back to themselves. So for Amazon, I give you a smash.
I like what you said, KP. What is the mandatory efforts that you want to give back to the community?
Right.
Just like Home Depot, just like those other stores that are on Hawaiian homelands, Crown lands, they have a requirement to hiring Native Hawaiians.
Yeah, but
right?
but the problem is, even if they give jobs to our people, it's either part-time or not even part-time, so they cannot get the benefits like medical and all that stuff. So like
You're
it's,
sniffing that out, KP, right?
no,
It's not enough
and that's
just to
true.
have that job, right?
It's true because now our people, they don't have like medical, dental, whatever they need, and most times the corporation is just taking advantage.
Right.
Right.
And that's and you're totally right, and that's why I said, I agree 100%. What is the standards do they have, or the respects that they have to have when they come to our islands, right?
Right.
I think jobs is a requirement, just like they have at Home Depot and those other shops that are on Hawaiian homes.
Right.
I think we need to audit those guys too, because I want to see how much Native Hawaiians is working in there.
Yes.
How much of them are getting the insurance?
Right.
How much of them are even making the quota, or even getting standard pay?
Right.
So
Exactly.
we have some concerns, but I like it where you're going, KP.
Mm-hmm.
You basically just letting me know that you've been around the block many times and you see the scheme happening all the time, right?
Several times.
Several times. And Amazon,
Yeah.
definitely in collusion with the state.
Oh yes.
Because without this happening on a sand island barge, man-made,
Right.
in the middle of the water, is got to have a little extortion on the native population. But you know what, Amazon, you do not get a pass for the quick land grab. And we need to see how much Native Hawaiians that you have working on that business plan of yours.
Yes. Yes.
Before we move forward with any contracts with the state, they must deal with the old business. And that is the heirs of Kova Ipai Aina. DJ Derbs.
Hawaii News Now, top local story. 2 more unions join teachers in calling for delay in reopening public school campuses. It's just egregious to think now, as COVID numbers are at record numbers every single day and climbing, we're even considering reopening our schools with our beloved and cherished keiki. So in this article, the Hawaii Government Employees Associations, that's the school leadership, that's principals, vice principals, therapists, personnel, health assistants, clerical aides, and the UPW, which represents the custodians, cafeteria workers, school physical therapists, aides. Now, the HSTA, UPW, and the HGEA all agree that delaying reopening the schools is a better choice to keep our communities safe. And so I just got a smash on the Department of Education and the state of Hawaii for not listening to these 3 most important unions that knows about the details of what it takes to facilitate a school setting with hundreds of thousands of our keiki. So mahalo to the UPW, HGEA, and HSTA for you guys' solution to delay reopening schools. And so I just got to give you guys a pass. Mahalo for sticking up for our keiki. Oko.
All right.
KP,
When
the
it comes
delay
to-
on the kikua.
Yeah. So when it comes to the the DOE, which is part of the fake state, they actually have this mentality where they're superior, and they're going to actually tell you what to do, and it's I need to applaud the the teachers, the union, the various unions to push back on this failed attempt to put the keikis and also the teachers in harm's way, because ultimately the parents of the keikis and also the teachers need to actually have the final say, not the fake state, not the Department of Education. Is because are they going to be actively in the classrooms? Mm-hmm. Do they have a plan if the kumu or the hamana, they contract COVID-19? What is the plan? What's going to happen to them? I want to see the plan.
Yeah.
There's no plan. Mm-hmm. It's like it's like saying that just go to school, but you're responsible if anything happened to you, and it's absurd to actually hear ridiculous things like, oh yeah, 3 feet apart is sufficient enough. It's like, no, it's because the rest of the world is at 6 feet. So we need to actually be vigilant and look after our kumus and also our keikis who's going to be in school. So we need to support the unions to actually push back and say, hey, wait a minute, let's slow down on this process of reopening the schools. So I give the fake state and also the Department of Education collusion, bad actors. You cannot actually follow these bad actors, okay? But for the teacher unions and also for the teachers, I give them a pass, for pushing back of restarting the schools.
Let's start with the pass. Keep it going, teachers, unions, supporters of your family members and your keikis' well-being. That should be the message. We support the mothers, the fathers, all of those who spend numerous amount of time taking care of our families and our keikis. If they do not feel safe, they must be preserved. They and their children must stay home. As a father, 6 feet, the WHO says, and then you got the donkey show telling you 3 feet. I'm concerned. We are concerned. But when I hear the teachers union and the mothers and the fathers and the uncles and the aunties speaking up and saying they don't feel safe, we should honor and we should respect their lives, because we are talking about their lives. If you, state of Hawaii, fake state, can allow tourism fly in and fly out daily without any concern, and the numbers are rising, then by all means, our families have to speak up against your belligerent act of trying to get our people sick and possibly even worse. So we cannot allow the fake state to continue to dictate what our families are going through. So with that being said, we mahalo all you teachers who are speaking up, all you union workers who are finally acting educated. Because this is the time where you have to show these politics that you guys are educated enough to make these kind of educated decisions. You guys went to become educators. These individuals went to school to pimp you out. So that's the difference. So when our schools and our parents rally, we should rally without even questioning their health. And for the state, we're going to continue to smash you because you continue to discriminate upon the nationals in Kova Aina, and you allow us to be second-class citizens in our nation, and you play risks with our schools, you play risks with our teachers and our keikis, and we're not going to handle that, and we're not taking that no more. DJ Derbs,
Pacific Island News.
KP, COVID update.
All right, this morning is the latest update on the South Pacific COVID-19 stats. As we look at the Aotearoa, they have actually one active case of COVID-19 at 1,545. As we go along and look at American Samoa, they have 0 cases. Cook Islands, 0 cases. And also, if we're looking at Guam, they have, right now, they have 314 cases. And it's due to the American presence, the military presence on the island. So that's, it's a concern. As we look to Fiji, they have 5 additional cases for 26 active cases. As we go on to our country, the Hawaiian Kingdom, we currently have 1,549 cases. This is really alarming because in our island nation, we have a little over a million, I think it's 1.6 or 1.7 million people in the occupied state. And as you look at Aotearoa, they have, and we just surpassed the stats, and it's a combination of irresponsible leadership of the fake state in Hawaii and the U.S. occupied presence in the Hawaiian Kingdom, and 1,549 is it's ridiculous, and yesterday, Norman, what was the stats? We had 66 new additional cases in the Hawaiian Kingdom. So we are actually rising. The numbers are rising. It's not flattening the curve. It's creating a mountain. So we need to be vigilant on this COVID-19, and we need to take responsibility by wearing masks, washing your hands, and social distancing is priority within the kingdom. As we move on to the Kingdom Tonga, they have 0 cases. Kiribati, 0 cases. Marshall Islands, 0 cases. Micronesia is 0 cases. New Caledonia, they're holding steady at 21 active cases, and that's remarkable. All right, as we move on to Niue, they have 0 cases. Northern Mariana, they're holding steady at 26 cases. Palau is 0 cases. Papua New Guinea, 12 cases. Solomon Islands, there's 0 cases. Samoa, 0 cases. Tahiti, they have 60 cases. Tokelau, 0 cases. And finally, Tuvalu, 60 cases. So this is your COVID-19 South Pacific news. As we move along to other news in the South Pacific, we have this a really good news. It's continuing news about Manatua cable that's going to actually connect all 4 Polynesian countries, and they are Samoa, Niue, the Cook Islands, and the French Polynesia. Okay, and the French Polynesian presidency has hailed the 3-year project as a fantastic technology step forward. In Samoa, the community minister said last month that his country aimed to become a regional telecommunication hub. So that's really good news as we look at our brothers and sisters in the South Pacific as they revise their communications in the 21st century. As we go to, let me see, okay, going on to this article written by, let me see, what's her name? Okay, let me see, Pacific. It's by Carol Pasisi, and she represents the Pacific Climate Security Expert Network. And so right now she's in negotiations with the Security Council of the United Nations, covering policies that we don't currently have in Polynesia, pertaining to the climate change and rising of sea of our people, and also the effects of storms. So it's really good that Carl is actually advocating and promoting awareness within the United Nations of the Pacific nations and the effects of climate change and the rise of seas within our Polynesian countries. Finally, we have news article from Don Weisman, Pacific Deputy News Editor. Fears Pacific deaths from COVID-19 will rise in the U.S. There are fears that the death toll from COVID-19 among Pacific Islanders in the U.S. could go much higher if people don't listen to the advice they are given. As of last week, across the United States, the death toll reached 146 and 7,700 has been affected within a community of 1.4 million people of Polynesian communities. One of the worst hit Pacific communities is Northwest Arkansas, where there's a large community of Marshallese living in the area. So that's a great concern of the.
Where's this at?
It's in Arkansas on the Northwest, and so there's a great concern of our Polynesian living in the United States not actually following advice about COVID-19.
Are those our military families too out that way?
No, we're just, this article just is covering just the Polynesian communities
Community.
within the,
America.
yes, so you
That's
have
sad.
within the United States, we have 1.4 million Polynesians living in America. So it's a great concern. And with that, this is the Polynesian South Pacific News.
Thank
Aloha.
you, KP, for always taking out the time to do the COVID-19 update in our South. And always current with our cousins and other family members' news. Mahalo. DJ Derbs wrapping it up.
Star advertiser, video businessman Keith Amemiya joins Honolulu Star Advertisers Spotlight Hawaii. Kako, we need to be concerned, especially when the Star Advertiser, the mainstream media news, chooses to support Keith Amemiya in his candidacy and his run for mayor. And if you just look at some of the things, member of the UH Board of Regents, Honolulu Police Commission, State Board of Education, Executive Director of Hawaii High School Athletics, and you just see the amount of support and funding he receives from corporations, from large businesses, because Amemiya supports completing the rail project to Ala Moana Center. And he says it will help our environment. And also, we can't afford to have to give back the $800 million we've already received in federal subsidies for the rail project if we don't complete rail all the way to Ala Moana. So you see how the current legislators trap the citizens to these projects when the audit hasn't even been revealed yet. They want to continue to spend more money and more money, our money, during this time of crisis to complete now a project that there is no money for. So, Amemiya says it at the end of this article. The voters have a choice, he said. They can choose between the status quo or they can choose change. A vote for Amemiya is a vote for the status quo. A vote for change is you just got to follow the money, Kako. So I got to give the Star Advertiser a big fat smash for 127 years of media mainstream lies and continuing that. And I just got to give a collusion for Amemiya finishing the rail wanting to finish the rail project without finishing the audit. Where's the audit, Kako? We've been waiting for this audit for so long, it's ridiculous. And this rail project is continuing to increase the cost in the billions. The citizens demand an audit. Where's the audit before we move forward, Kako? I call collusion.
Cornerstone.
I'm Mamiya.
Hi.
Actually, he represents the continued mentality of the insurgency, which began 127 years. And, it's total collusion when you have also a newspaper company that actually was part of the insurgency and continued to actually print, lies, and they don't actually print the truth of the U.S. occupation, and that's total, collusion. And also, a shame that, they're pressing and pushing to complete the failed rail. Is that on whose pocket, whose expense? And it's because of, this fake state, the citizens, they actually have to flip the bill of paying for this failed rail system. So I give the Star Advertiser and Mia and the fake state, you guys all in collusion, and you guys want to continue the U.S. occupation and total disregard of following international law.
And mahalo, because the brain of the rail is on Hawaiian homelands that they never transferred. So Hawaiians out there where in Kapolei, where the rail brain is, you guys got to speak up and charge them rent. We need to charge them fair market value rent for where the brain of the rail is, so that we can put our Kanaka's infrastructure and houses on the land. So no $1 deal for those the rail brain kako. Mahalo, Auntie.
KP. I'm Mia. Mufi Banana Hands. These guys is all in the same clan. There's no change with the same crew. These guys have continuously conspired and colluded with the state of Hawaii, with Bill Amalaya, with Suzanne Ketchakase, just been passing out our lands like it was a dollar burger. And that is the collusion that I'm talking about. This rail has a certain stench of corruption. The parcels that we are discussing have never been compensated, have continuously been lied about, and all the A.G. Connors, Mitch the Sloth Roth, they continue to go down this road to deceive not only the Kanaka Maoli and the general public. They're over here trying to deceive the international treaties, trying to deceive the constitutional oaths that they're supposed to uphold. These guys are truly, truly a piece of work. They will not stop till the job is done, Kako. Is that what we're going to allow these immigrants go down this road? Because these guys are always doing this to us, and the failed rail is no exception. It will continue to blow up, and they will continue to say they must find a way to build. But you know what? No Mufi Banana Hands, no Amamiya, no old boy networks, no more. Smash. DJ Derbs, what's next?
What other can we talk about than the continuation of the stealing of our lands out in Laie? So we have our Ohanas out there. Mormon Church, return my land, please. So if you really want to learn about this, there's a professor called Hokulani Aikau, and she wrote a book in 2012, was printed Minnesota Press, A Chosen People, A Promised Land, Mormonism and Race in Hawaii.
Say it again.
Hokulani Aikau in 2012, University of Minnesota Press, prints A Chosen People, A Promised Land, Mormonism and Race in Hawaii. It's a great book. It talks about the specific details of how churches started to take Hawaiian Kingdom lands, and they are continuing to take Hawaiian Kingdom lands. For example, the UCC is currently removing our Hawaiian leader kahus that are protecting our lands and trying to import foreign kahus in our Hawaiian Church Evangelical Association so that they can continue to steal our Hawaiian church land, agricultural land, and guess what, Kako? They're growing hemp on it. How is these guys taking our lands and growing hemp on it before Hawaiians get to farm our lands and Hawaiians get to so there's a long history of missionaries coming to Hawaii in 1820, and I think they had a good intention, but I don't think their keiki was listening when they went to Sunday school, because when they grew up, the keiki decided to overthrow the only Christian independent nation state in the Pacific, which is the Hawaiian Kingdom. The sons and daughters conspired together to take over the Hawaiian Kingdom Christian nation. So I just got to smash on the churches, smash on the Mormon Church, smash on the UCC for colluding with the current system today and not fulfilling the apology bill from 1993, which the UCC signed on to resolve the 100-year injustice in 1993. So, Kako, we have a lot of work. Let's focus on the root of the problem. Let's uproot the root so that we can finally solve with some proper solutions our conundrum that we're in, Kako.
Cornerstone.
All right. So the original, missionaries that came, they actually was, they really respected our country and our people. So when they was actually doing all their minister work and they're bringing the flocks in the church, apparently their children actually wasn't in church, just outside playing. So they don't know the value of, their Christian roots, right? And as they became older, they conspired among themselves, the second generation, how to overthrow a country that was a peaceful country. So, most of the insurgents, was greedy people. Some of them was Hawaiian subjects as well as foreign nationals. And this is a continued attempt to steal land from the Hawaiian Kingdom. So shame on the churches, shame on you guys to actually continue to conspire to take our land. But you know what? We have the last laugh because you don't have any valid land title in the kingdom. So boo-hoo for you. And you know what? I give you guys, your churches, one smash. Shame on you for stealing and creating sin among your people and your religion.
Yes. Oh man, the church, the United Church of Crooks, and we have the Mormon book. These guys are just breathtaking. When our families are part of this story, and when we see these things continuously, how can we, Kako, allow these people to walk with their heads high, allow them to talk to our children, allow them to intermingle with our families? These guys continuously, from the time of the allowing these people to come and join us, they have continuously conspired with envy, as the Bible teaches, no good for the soul. They tell you to love one another, but they still These people do the worst things that the Bible or the good book tells them to do. And the United Church of Crooks have continuously belittled our family. They belittled our claims, and they have conspired with the left hand too, and right hand. So just like the Kino, government and state and religion is separate. How can you be having these high politicians going to these Mormon churches that get exempt, and even the Polynesian Culture Center, selling out our culture like that, right? Making that kind of vast amounts of money on our crown lands. And yet we are the highest in poverty. We do not have the best education. And we sit here and we allow these people to continue to sell us a story that they don't even believe in. They don't even believe in the things that they say and do in their daily lives. And to me, that is bothering. And as a person who has been raised in that environment, I now am ashamed that I have to turn my back. And that comes from my kupuna. And so as I sit here and I share these things through these articles that we go through every week, these articles, it's meant to show not the bright side of what's portrayed on the OHA mainstream and on these nonprofit mainstreams in the American news. They don't want to tell you guys how deep this take was illegally and how organized they were too in taking. And for us, I believe as a Hawaiian people, we have always been spiritually connected, and we must continue to do what we do best and be connected, because if we look outwards into our foreign friends, they will give you a book and they will do totally opposite. And the Mormon Church and the United Church of Crooks, you guys gotta get smashed, and there's no pass for this kind of irreparable damage that you guys have been doing. DJ Derbs.
Last but not least, mahalo to council member on Maui, Tamara Paulton, for initiating this inquiry, and a letter from Police Chief of Maui, Tivoli S. Fa'aumu, which says, Dear Council Member Paulton, subject, County of Maui's role in land disputes and other racially sensitive conflicts. There's no racial sensitive conflict here. There's just ignoring 127 years of injustice when Hawaiians decide to step up to the plate and fight for justice with their inheritance from their ancestors that have land claim titles of Kuleana lands, of land commission awards, of royal patents that was stolen outright by all of the sugar plantation companies that was allowed to open after they overthrew our government and illegally occupied our lands to make money off of for sugar. It says, in response to your letter of July 6, 2020, the Maui Police Department is aware of disputes over Kuleana lands and the sensitive history behind them. Our policy is to respond to every call for service for the preservation of public peace, prevention of crimes, and protection of life and property. All of our officers are required to successfully complete cultural awareness training upon entering the department. Officers will respond to investigate the situation, to include determining the rightful owner of the property. However, if the landowner is not able to be determined while officers are on scene, Maui Police Department does not have the legal authority to order any individual to vacate the premises. So this is very important, Kako. Hawaii County, Honolulu County, Kauai County, make a copy of this letter, send it to your police chief, and ensure that they all follow equality across the board. So when you retrieve your Kuleana land, royal patent or land commission award, you go to your land, you call them up, and you proclaim your rightful ownership of this land and just have a discussion. Because at the very least, investigation, research, and education is the key for all of our families to return home. But this is an important key because it seemed like for the past decades, maybe even century, the police always sides with normally the banks, the perceived corporate owner of the land. So now with this precedence, it's always a civil matter. It's never a criminal matter. So mahalo, Maui County Council Member Tamara Paulton for bringing this up, and all the Hawaiian nationals pushing the envelope to bring out the truth of the 127 years of injustice.
KP, the love letter.
All right. So I applaud this initial push on the land issue. But when they're talking about education, it's not about racial, okay? What they need to be actually informed on and used is this right here. The Royal Commission of Inquiry. They need to understand the definition of war crimes and pillaging in the occupied state of the Hawaiian Kingdom. That's what they need to educate themselves. They need to educate the police officers, the commissioners, and also for resident aliens who's living in the Hawaiian Kingdom. It's not a racial issue. It's a legal issue. They're breaking international law. They're breaking Hawaiian Kingdom law. So they need to actually use this right here as a start for education. Yeah, so it's a good start, and I applaud Tamara for her efforts. Even like last year or the year before when she brought in legal experts to talk about the status and situation in the Hawaiian Kingdom to actually educate the council and other people within the Maui County. So I give Tamara a pass, and I give the fake state and their bad characters, the collusion to actually stifle or hold back the true educational process as Hawaiian Kingdom law and also international law.
Honorable Michael Pinch Hit Victorino. You think he got this pitch? You think he got this message about this racial discrimination and the sensitive his story behind it? I think it's pretty historical in his content too, right? They knowing that they're continuing to do these things illegally, and these girls and other family members, Kiamoku Kapu, and other family members have been hard at work out in Maui during this COVID-19 and even before. And I think the police department, Maui Police County, have finally felt the heat, right?
Oh, yes.
They have finally felt the heat because these things are not going to stop anytime soon. So once again, Tamara, it's definitely a pass for bringing this forward and letting it be known about these racial sensitive conflicts over land disputes with the land true tenure to those properties. And you know what? Mahalo once again to those families out in Maui. I don't think these things would be possible without your guys' efforts and doing your kuleana. So once again, mahalo to the families out in Maui. These are big issues that each island will have to address soon. We're going to see one in Hawaii Island soon. We're going to see one in different areas. And that's why it's important, I guess, for our Kanaka people. Auna. Auna for Moko Keawe, prosecutor. Mitch Roth thinks he's going to get a free bento in the mayor's seat. And I hope we can stuff him. And he fumbles the ball at the 1 yard line like always. And we got to get our Hawaiians in there, because if we allow Mitch Roth, which is basically the head of a police department, he can basically do anything he wants, draft anything he wants, arrest Kupuna on the road, knowing that he doesn't even have the proper document. The police department, they must think for themselves, and they must feel the pressure, just like from our county people that represent our council members out in Maui and in other islands. They need to put the pressure on them and let the head man know that, we're not just gonna start arresting people over land titles that can be disputed and can be won. Mahalo, Ohana, out there for stepping up and holding space in all that you guys do. Manawahine and Anakala Kemoku Kapu, with all the Ohanas out there. Mahalo to you guys for inspiring. DJ Derbs.
So with that said, mahalo to HawaiianKingdom.org and the letter from the Royal Commission of Inquiry.
Do we have a picture for that?
Specifically targeting land property disputes that continue after 127 years of injustice. So my constitutional oathbreaker award has to go to all of the OHA candidates, the Office of Hawaiian Despairs. I got to smash all but one candidate out there because they all are ignoring the 127 years of injustice that affects all Hawaiians today. So I really don't understand why these Hawaiians that choose to represent Hawaiians as a whole want to ignore the 127 years of injustice and want to fix peripheral problems, especially when our Hawaiian people with the proper documents have been evicted from our lands for over a century. And I can just name a few right off the top of my head, like Kalama Valley, Waimanalo evictions, Mokawea, Sand Island evictions, on Moko Keawe, out in Kukailimoku Village, down in Keokaha Hilo Airport. I mean, there's just tons and tons of these evictions out Kahale Smith, out on Kauai, Punohuke Kaualua, on the west side. I mean, these evictions are continuing. The problem is the same because the Office of Hawaiian Despair chooses not to address the main root problem that all of us Hawaiians in the community want to address now, immediately, with the Hawaiian Commission of Inquiry sending letters. Stop ignoring us, Office of Hawaiian Despair. Represent the Hawaiians truthfully under 127 years of injustice. Don't move forward without addressing the main issue, Kako. So they're my constitutional oathbreaker for this week. Unless all of the candidates step up to the plate and hit the home run and resolve 127 years of injustice.
Yeah, because currently all the majority of people, candidates, they're striking out, and the problem is they're part of the continued occupation, and they rather support the continued insurgency, So it's a shame, It's like, come on, step up to the plate and stand for justice, stand for your kupuna. Because a lot of you out there, you are descendants of people who signed the Kue petition. So stand up for your kupuna. No sellout, no beat lapdogs for the United States.
So who's that constitutional oathbreaker you get this?
Oh, constitutional oathbreakers for today, I would say it's the fake state of Hawaii and the Department of Education for not looking out for the safety of our kumus and also for the keikis. Shame on you guys for actually putting them in harm's way. So you guys need to take your, and clean your ears, clean your maka, and listen to the people. If they say, hold off and open up the school next year or whatever, open up next year. Do not actually put our people in harm's way, because you need to remember now, on the laws of occupation, we are protected people. Mm-hmm. So if you want to, violate our rights, well, go ahead, because we are going to actually, push back on your ill-advised efforts.
Yes.
Yeah.
The ill-advised. Constitutional breaker this week has to be the Department of Uneducated. Just as they don't have a plan. They want to stick our keikis back into an environment that they're not ready for. For our teachers, continue to push, continue to voice, continue to publish all of your concerns on social media, on even if you can get it onto like the news, like how you guys eventually did it. I believe that's what we have to do, because our constitutional oath breaker has to be, mine's one, is the Department of Uneducation, because these people continue to push forward and put our teachers and our keikis at risk. DJ Derbs.
Makahana Ka'ike this week is coming up July 31st, 1843, all the way to July 31st, 2020. La Ho'i Ho'i Ea, the day Kamehameha III proclaimed ua mau ke ea o ka aina I ka pono in Kauai Ha'o Church in ceremony, with the 21-gun salute of the battleships that was docked in Honolulu Harbor at the time. Please join us for our live celebration of a sunrise at an undisclosed of the founder of the Hawaiian Kingdom, and get educated on the pre-kingdom nation-state status, transitioning to kingdom status, and how we all can operate today in the occupied kingdom to bring out the truth and share with everyone our real legal and political situation here in the islands, so that we can resolve some sort of injustice. So take a day off. Listen, learn, activate, because we have a surprise coming for everyone online on that day that hopefully can provide a venue where we all can contribute in unity on the legal and political status of the Hawaiian Kingdom in our islands today. So that's your Makahana Ka'ike. Get ready for this Friday coming up, July 31st, La Ho'i Ho'i Ea. Makahana Ka'ike.
Cornerstone.
My Makahana Ka'ike is to actually be familiar with the Royal Commission of Inquiry. Read especially the terminology, and also be maka'ala on pillaging and also war crimes. We need to actually step it up and be educated on what laws actually protects us. So, you can get this online PDF form, and take the time and read through this important documents.
Makahana Kiki this week. Yes, get ready. La Ho'i Ho'i Ea. Be ready. I guess we have homework upon homework that day, I'm assuming, right? We're going to have another homework. We're going to have a real homework assignment where we have to do some paperwork coming up, kako. So, Makahana Ka'ike, we got homework to give out by Friday, right?
Right.
So, stay tuned. Enjoy the week. If you guys can tune in, we'll start sunrise, 5 to 8, and we will be closing with our special episode of Darkside of Hawaiian Politics for that special day. So, DJ?
We're not gonna have news on Saturday morning next week because the national holiday is on Friday, and so we're gonna have our special episode of news on Friday in the afternoon because that's our political and legal foundation, and that's what we need to get back to, because the fake state, which reveals not celebrating that holiday, just reveals their injustice and illegality. So bring your poo with you to join us in our Sunrise Live so we can awaken the ancestors at our cultural foundational areas to help us on the other side. If you know what I mean, Kako. Bring your poo, join us when we bring your high, and join us when we blow our 21 poo salute at Pū Kohola Heiau to do our flag ceremony where only the Hawaiian Kingdom flag will fly on that flagpole at the nation-state heiau of unification, Pū Kohola Heiau, Kako.
What time you think the Kanika poo should be on? Guesstimation of time of arrival to blow the poo for that one.
So that ceremony will begin hopefully at 7 a.m. in the morning, but don't miss the more important live, which is going to begin at 5 a.m. before the sun rises at one of the oldest heiau in the islands. The estimated year 242. The family will be there to greet us. The family will be there to invite us to go to their family area so we can celebrate this most important celebration. So come online and join us, because we'll have some special guest stars to welcome you on our show, because we'll be out on site. Like I said, Mo'okini, Pu'ukohola, then to the first Hawaiian Kingdom capital, Ahu'ena, where one of our uncles will meet us and share with us some of his mo'olelo from the time before time about these three most significant places. So join us online and share around the world so everyone knows where we come from, which is thousands and thousands of years of living in these islands. Don't stop ignoring us. We're here.
Rapid alohas and mahalos to our sponsors. DJ Derbs, KP, shoot it first.
Core sources. So if you want, you can email us, you can share to support core sources. Check out our new website, darksideofhawaiianpolitics.com. You can support us in many different ways, but we're going to start utilizing this site to move forward and communicate with the world to resolve this 127-year injustice. Core sources, mahalo. Thank you for your assistance. Great people. They can help many businesses throughout the islands.
KP.
All right, I want to thank our one of our original sponsors, Kanaka Kava. You can find them at the Coconut Grove at Kanaka Kava, or you can reach them at in Facebook or Instagram. Mahalo to Kanaka Kava.
Mahalo to Bite the Eye, Kako. If you have time, check out Cousin. He's usually on the Crown Lands of Pane'ewa in Hilo, right across Walmart. Look like a fishing lure. His van, Bite the Eye. Check out Brada. Let him know that the Darkside of Hawaiian Politics, Hawaiian Kingdom News sent you that way, where he catches his local fishes every week, never store-bought, fresh from one Hawaiian. Bite the Eye. DJ Derbs.
So don't forget, Oko, join us July 31st and visit, take the journey with us to these most special places and be a part of the change. Press share for the change.
Yeah, so if you want additional information, go to our website at Darkside of Hawaiian Politics.com.
Yes, and one more. And the shout out is to you guys, the Rapid Aloha, for always tuning in and allowing us the space and journey. Thank you guys for always coming up and listening and opening your guys' ears and hearts. And thank you guys all. I see Anna K guys out there. Hope you guys are feeling better. We love you guys. And thank you, La Hui and DJ Derbs.
Mahalo La'a, mahalo to Kupuna Pono, mahalo National Crisis, and mahalo to all of our fans and Kanaka out there. Continue to share, continue to spread the word, because we justice. Hawaiian. This is our home, Kako. Aloha.
Stay safe in the kingdom.
Mau ke o kai ana I kupono ea imua uo mau ke o kai ana I kupono ea imua uo mau ke o kai ana I kupono ea wale pa just for a days a manatava kings and queens would visit all the islands and saw everything. How would they feel about the changes of our land? Why could you just imagine if they were around and saw our concrete jungle and highways on sacred ground? How would they feel about the disrespect of ancient lands? Wanna now, tears will come from each other's eyes and they will stop to realize that's how all the people are in great danger now. Whoa, tell me what would they say? How would they feel? Will the smiles be contempt or the cry for the pain?